Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is doing well today. So let's continue with the build here. See, we got a little cleanup to do here. Some of our slots disappeared from those fixes that we did. So let's do two things here. Let's turn on this next sketch and then extrude. Need to extrude these right here, and we're going to extrude those in two directions, two-sided. Now down for my truss rod was 0.41, and then I want to go up 3 millimeters, and then I want to turn back on this head veneer and do a cut operation. I'm going to turn off the neck. You can go up here and use this offset face. Click on this face and start it moving towards this direction, and then click on this face. Click OK on that and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and you can save that. Now what I'm going to do is scroll down here to the construction planes, and on this top plane we're going to create a sketch, and then go back here to the master sketch and turn that on. And from the master sketch we want to project in these two dots right here, and click OK on that. And we can hide that master sketch, turn on the master canvas, and then create a line from the anchor point here back to the end of the guitar out here. You make that a construction line. And then draw another line back here just for a measurement up 1.2, 1.3, and then it starts breaking away about 1.3. So we'll create a line back here, 1.3 times 2, and click on that line and use a midpoint constraint to this point right here. And that's blue because this line isn't dimensioned, so click D for dimension and double click here, hit enter there. Okay, now that's all locked down now. These I would take the time to make sure everything is constrained for sure. You don't want any of this stuff to move later. It would be a catastrophe. So go up here to create and then spline, and then use this control point spline. So the general rule is the fewer points the better. However, with the control point spline you need to use a few more points than with the fit point spline. But they do tend to have a nicer shape, a more roundy shape to them than the fit point. So I'm going to click right here on this point to get started, and I'm going to go to everywhere it changes direction. I'm going to put a point. Rolls are in here, and it starts going over here. You need at least 3 points in this real tight radius here, and I'm going to put a couple extra back here, and that should be okay. And then make sure you end by clicking on this point right here and then hit enter. Then click on that line and make it tangent to this line back here. and then go ahead and just pull all these points into shape that you want. Now if you wanted to do sharp angles or sharp points up here, then you would actually just create this line first and end it, and then start again from this point and move out, and that'll put a point on it over here. And then we'll do the same thing down here on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to call that good for that one, and then create a line here between these 2 points, and it should turn all blue like that. And just for now, let's make that line a construction line so that it doesn't turn all blue. And let's create extend this center line here. And actually, I don't want it to click into the midpoint on that because that might not be accurate. So I'm just going to run it out here horizontally and stop out here randomly. I think a center point might be accurate. I'm not sure about the math on that, so I'm not going to connect it to this line. And then we'll make that a construction line as well. Let's see, I want to create these holes here for the pickups. So if we go over here and take a look, looks like we need a rectangle. Let's see, 71 by 40. So let's just create a center rectangle, create rectangle. Center rectangle, and you can just draw it anywhere on this line right here. So it's going to be 40 millimeters, tab 71 millimeters. Click OK on that. And then these little wings up here, I think I measured all this. They'll be 16 by 8, and so we'll just do a center rectangle from here again, 16 by 16. So create rectangle, center rectangle at the midpoint of this line, and I'll just do 16 by 16. And then get rid of this line and just use my trim tool to get rid of these other lines. I'm going to get rid of all these constraint lines here and trim out this middle one here. Actually, this line right here, you need to think about what you're going to do. Take a look at this sketch again. So he has made his neck cavity and his pickup cavities the same depth, all of these 21 millimeters deep, which has this bottom of this pickup hovering way off the back of the guitar. And normally what on most guitars would be is these wings would actually be seated down lower, cut down lower into the body, and this cutout would actually be up here somewhere for the pickup, and you could put some cushioning behind the pickup if you needed to make it squarer in the body. Whereas when you just rely on these springs over here, the pickups tend to tilt when they're in the body if you can't get some support underneath these two sides, which you could still put support in here, but just generally these little tabs here have their own little recess which is deeper. It's up to you however you want to do that. I am going to cut my tabs, recess them in a little bit deeper, so I'm going to leave these lines in here so I can cut this square deeper than this square, or rectangle rather. So I'm going to radius all these points the same using this fillet tool here. I'm just going to use 0.125 here, so I can use a 1/4 inch bit to finish this. I don't want to have to change over to an 1/8 inch bit, so I'm going to click on all these points before I hit the enter button. And once I get all these selected, I'll just hit enter. Machine's really getting slow on this. I'm going to drag select this, and I'm going to use the mirror, and then select mirror alignment with this center line here. Click OK on that. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn on my next sketch here and turn off this master for the moment. And I'm going to drag select all of this, and I'm going to right click and move it. Click on this arrow so it can only move in 2 directions, and I'm going to drag it in here. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of room on mine. The rings I have, the pickup rings I have, are very, very narrow on these sides over here, so I don't need to leave much, but I'm going to leave enough room in here to put a pickup ring in. Something about like that. I'm going to click OK on that. And I'm going to drag select it all again. Right click. I'm going to move it again. This time I'm going to click on this copy button here. And again, I'm going to click on this arrow and turn that master sketch back on and park the copy right about where this one is. Leaving this one looks like it has enough room for my rings there. And I'm going to trust this is all going to be about the same for that bridge. Click OK on that. And all those constraints are kind of cluttering up my design here. I'm just going to delete all these mirror constraints in here. It also takes processor power to hold those mirrors in place. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this back into a regular line, and I'm going to do the cheat on this and just grab all this and lock it down. Turn this back into a construction line. Now back here on these holes, for the strings to go through the body, if that's the way you're going to do it, we don't really have a dimension for where those holes need to be. Here's the hole here. We don't have a dimension from the edge of the bridge back to the holes. And if you go over here and look at, so what I have done is I've measured back from my intonation line on my actual bridge. So mine are about 0.34 inches back from the intonation line. And my spacing is the same, 52.5 millimeters from E string to E string. So we can hide this master canvas, and I am going to draw a line from this anchor point back 0.34 inches. I'm going to make that a construction line. If I can grab it, let's see, left click, long hold, and then you can pick the line from here. I'm going to make that a construction line, and then just draw a line out here, 52.5 millimeters. Click on that line and mid constrain it to this point right here. And then make that a construction line as well. And let's see, I forgot to measure my holes You want the hole the holes to be either the same size or slightly smaller than the holes you have in the back of your bridge. If you make them bigger, you might have a hard time sticking the string through the body. It's going to bump into the back of the bridge. So I'm just going to make my string holes 1/8 of an inch, and that way it'll slip right through and not be in any danger of bumping into the back of that bridge. So I'm going to create a circle right here at this point, 0.125, and then drag select all of that circle and go to create rectangular pattern. First thing it wants to know is the direction and how far, so I'm going to click on this. Actually it changed already. Anyway, just grab this arrow right here and start moving in a direction, and then for this number we can type in a 6, and then for this number it needs to be at this value right here, which is a negative value for the way I did my circles, negative 2.067. Okay, we've got those in place, and I don't know what else you want to put in here as far as all these placement holes. If you want to go ahead and do the math and draw all those in, what I'm going to do is just set my bridge on the body and use these holes for reference to line it up, and then use the sides of the neck as reference to square it up right there, and then I'll just drill my screw holes in by hand. And so what else do we need on the top here? Let's open up this master canvas again. Put in some 1/4 inch holes right here, and I can oversize them later. And just ream the holes out to size. So I'm just going to create a line here from about here to here. Make that a construction line and put some circles on it. Right here, 0.25. And then one right in the middle. Whoops, I missed that. And then I can get rid of this line here, and that will be okay. And I'm just gonna drag select those and lock them down. And I think that's all we need from the front. Okay, escape out of there and turn this line back into a real line. So now I want to draw in this comfort line right here. Click on the line tool, snap it to the center down here, and then where it intersects over here on the body line, and then draw another small line out here in the center, clip to the midpoint here, and head out this direction. Click, enter. Okay, and then you can get rid of this comfort line. Select this and lock it down. There we go. And now let's create a plane at an angle, and select this line right here and type in 90. Hit enter on that, and we'll call this plane the comfort. And then we can hide this sketch, which we haven't named yet. Let's call this sketch the top. And we can hide that. Oh, no we can't, we need that. And on the comfort we'll right click and create a sketch here. And then I'm gonna click right on this edge right here to look straight in from this edge, and I'm going to project in. Actually, that's not what I want to do. which edge do I want? I want this left to front edge here. Yeah. I'm going to project in of these two dots right here, the one closest to the inside of the guitar. I'm going to click on that dot or that point and project in that point. Click OK on that, and then go back to from my left to front corner view right here. I'm going to hide this top sketch, and I'm going to call this sketch the comfort. Then I'm going to go up here and create a line. Let's see, let's turn back on the top sketch and anchor the line right on this projected point here. I'm going to roll this down a bit so I can see the body. And I'm going to come straight out and make sure that you're past the end of the body here. And then go back to this left front corner view, and then go up here and create. And we're going to go to arc, 3-point arc, and start at that same point and come this direction. Now this is the end of the body right here, so you want to come past the end point and then come down as however much comfort you want to cut out of the corner of this guitar here. I'm going to bring mine down to about here, I think, and then start moving it back up until it becomes tangent here with this line here, like that. And then right click on this line and do the extrude with the orange one here, and click on this straight line as well. We want to do both lines, and we want to do them in two directions, two-sided. Pull this one all the way through the body, and then pull this one all the way through the body, and click OK on that. And we'll call this the comfort. And then right click on the comfort and move copy. And go back to this view here and click on this copy button right here. Now we want to hit this arrow right here and pull it straight down. And you want to pull this down. If you're going to use a drop top, you want to pull it down the thickness of your drop top. If you're not going to use a drop top, then you can either omit this step or you can leave it in. We can still cut the guitar as a solid body and just include the drop top with the body later. This also gives you a place to sink your back cavity. It gives you a stopping point for your back cavities. So I'm going to do mine a real thin drop top because this figured wood is getting harder and harder to find, and I'm not going to use a big thick piece. So I'm going to do mine a negative 0.15 inches. Hit OK on that. And this one I'm going to call the drop top. And you can hide both of those for now. And roll back up here. What do I got here? Turn off this neck. And then we're going to do an extrude. We want to get the whole body shape and all of this pickup cavities. And these holes as well. So the only thing we're going to leave are these 6 holes in the back. And then extrude this in a negative value, and instead of distance here, go to object and scroll down here and click on your back plane and click new body and OK. Let's see, should we cut this? Actually, let's go back and edit this sketch right here and lock it all down. You don't want this stuff moving later. Okay, now then we have this body and this body. So let's go ahead and join those together. So we'll do a combine, and I'm going to select this one first because it has the name that I want to keep. And I'm going to select this one secondly and do this as a join operation and click OK. Now we only have one body. And let's cut out the neck pocket. So we'll turn back on our neck, and again we will do a combine, and I'm going to select this one first, and for the tool body will be the neck, and this join will become a cut, and we want to keep the tool. Click OK on that. So we have these little extra pieces that were created. We could have avoided that by moving back in the timeline and suppressing those holes that we put in there, but it's okay. So this one down here now is the actual main body. So I'm going to do another combine move, and this is the target body, and we're going to combine these little bodies to it, and we're going to cut and not keep, and then we'll rename this the body. Now we can turn back on this comfort right here and do a split body, and body to split will be this body, and select splitting tool will be this comfort right here. Click OK on that, and we hide this comfort. Actually, we're done with it. We can get rid of it. Right click and remove it. Now we have these two bodies. This is the one we want to throw away, so we can do a combine this body with this body, and we're going to cut and do not keep. We can check that comfort and make sure it's the way we want it, and then turn this back on and do another split body, and body to split is this one, and splitting tool will be the drop top, and click OK on that, and we can get rid of this drop top, remove it, and now we have two bodies, and this will be called the drop top. Turn back on this top sketch, and I'm going to extrude these two cavities down, and let's say it'll be a negative 19 millimeter. Click OK, make sure it's cut, and OK on that, and I'm going to extrude these four bodies down. A negative 25 millimeter. And then I am going to hide my body, and I'm going to extrude these three holes down, and the distance will be all.